The sharp crack of the gavel reverberated through the tense, hushed courtroom. The atmosphere was heavy, stifling, as though even the walls were holding their breath. From his towering seat, the judge's cold, authoritarian voice pierced the silence. "Kneel." A wave of shock swept through the room. A few quiet gasps escaped but quickly fell silent under the withering glare of Judge Everett Caldwell. The black woman standing at the defense podium, clad in a simple orange jumpsuit, did not move. Her posture was steady, her eyes calm yet resolute. "Your Honor, I don't understand this request." Judge Caldwell's tone hardened. "You don't understand? This is my courtroom. You're displaying open disrespect. Kneel or be charged with deeper contempt." She remained upright, her gaze locked with his, unyielding. "With all due respect, Your Honor, I will not kneel." The gavel slammed again, louder this time. "Deputy Horton." "Deputy Klein. Enforce the court's order. Make her kneel." The two deputies moved forward. Horton, the larger man, sneered as he stepped up. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Klein placed a hand near his baton. "Get down. Now." Horton reached toward her shoulder, intending to force her down. Klein flanked from behind, prepared to assist. The room tensed further. Spectators froze, watching as this blatant abuse of authority unfolded. Who was this woman, and why was she being humiliated in a courtroom supposedly a place of justice? What had led to this terrifying moment under Judge Caldwell's gavel? Months earlier, inside a modest office in the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Justice Department in Washington, D.C., Senior Special Agent Danielle Shaw sat studying a thick file. The woman in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a sharper mind, had spent her career investigating systemic abuse and institutional racism. And now she held a folder containing years of complaints, inconsistencies, and disturbing patterns from the Meadowridge County Courthouse in the South. At the center was Judge Everett Caldwell. Shaw had read the stories before. Harsh, inexplicable sentences handed down to people of color. Juvenile black defendants sentenced as adults. Hispanic mothers ridiculed in open court. Deputies Vince Horton and Leo Klein regularly involved in arrests leading to Caldwell's rulings. Numerous defendants denied their rights, coerced into guilty pleas, or punished harshly for minor infractions. Caldwell's influence ran deep. Attorneys feared retribution. Staff remained silent. Outsider audits hit brick walls. The truth, it seemed, lived behind sealed transcripts and closed courtroom doors. Shaw closed the file and made her decision. The department approved her bold plan, an undercover operation. She would become Nina Wallace, an unemployed black woman in her 40s recently relocated to a nearby town with a minor prior conviction for trespassing. Her new identity was carefully constructed to be vulnerable, believable, and bait for a biased system. Her confident stance was replaced with slumped shoulders, her polished appearance disguised with modest thrift store clothing and tightly braided hair. Hidden microphones and cameras would be sewn into her garments, monitored by a mobile DOJ team stationed nearby. Her arrest would be staged. Her crime? Simply existing in the wrong place at the wrong time. One humid evening, as she walked down a dimly lit street near a construction zone, Horton and Klein spotted her. "What are you doing here?" Horton barked. "Just headed back to my room," Nina answered, nervous by design. "You don't belong around here," Klein said, stepping closer. "Got ID?" She fumbled her bag. I don't know. I don't think I." "No ID? That's a problem," Horton snapped. "You look suspicious. Hands where I can see them." They handcuffed her, roughly, with no clear charge. She spent the night in custody on vague accusations of loitering and resisting. The next morning, she was told she'd face Judge Caldwell. The courthouse smelled of mildew and disuse. Nina sat in the holding area until her overworked public defender, Mr. Delaney, arrived. "Best if you plead," he muttered. "Caldwell doesn't go easy, especially not when Horton and Klein file the report." She refused. "I'm innocent." He sighed and marked his notepad. In courtroom 3, Judge Caldwell presided with a tight-lipped frown. His face was ruddy, his gray eyebrows permanently arched in disdain. Several quick cases passed before hers. Caldwell barely listened to the defendants, his bias evident in every sentence. Then, Nina Wallace. Danielle, posing as Nina stood, walked to the podium. The charges were read. The accusations exaggerated. "Miss Wallace," Caldwell said, You were loitering, then resisted a lawful arrest. Do you dispute the officer's reports? She explained in a quiet, careful tone that she was simply returning home and hadn't resisted. Caldwell cut her off. Don't waste my time. Delaney tried to interject. Sit down, Caldwell barked. I'll hear nothing more unless you have proof. Deputies Horton and Klein testified, smirking, confidently repeating their false version of events. Caldwell nodded approvingly. Then, with venom in his tone, the judge turned back to Nina. You come in here with lies, wasting the court's time. I should hold you in contempt. In fact, he stood. Kneel. Show this court the respect you've denied it. Gasps. Stunned silence. Excuse me, Your Honor? Nina asked. Kneel or face consequences. Delaney looked helpless. Horton and Klein closed in. And then, her voice changed. Stop. Horton froze. Klein blinked. Danielle stood tall. Her poise returned. Her voice lost all trace of fear. She reached inside her jumpsuit, peeled back a flap of fabric, and revealed a glinting badge. Senior Special Agent Danielle Shaw. U.S. Department of Justice. Civil Rights Division. Caldwell's mouth dropped open. What is this? You are under federal investigation. Every word of this proceeding has been recorded. The courtroom doors opened. Federal agents entered. Agent Ruiz stepped forward. We have sufficient cause to detain you for abuse of power, civil rights violations, and obstruction of justice. Horton and Klein stood frozen. Ruiz instructed them to disarm. They hesitated until backup agents approached. The room transformed. Caldwell's dominance shattered. The deputies were stripped of weapons. Case files were seized. Witnesses whispered. Some cried. Over the following days, the DOJ's task force took control of the courthouse. Transcripts, surveillance footage, and years of complaints were compiled. The footage from Danielle's camera circulated nationally, sparking outrage. Caldwell was indicted. Horton and Klein, too. Each was convicted, Caldwell sentenced to 5 years, stripped of title and pension. The deputies received 2 years each and lifetime bans from law enforcement. Danielle Shaw returned to D.C. Her name and story became symbols of accountability. The Meadowridge Court appointed a new, progressive judge. Community trust began its long road to repair. Though the system remained imperfect, one woman's courage made a difference. Her mission proved that even in the darkest halls of justice, truth still has a voice, and sometimes it wears an orange jumpsuit and waits patiently to be heard.